Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on YouTube, PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, where you can subscribe for the full season. We are Monday to Friday live at 4 o'clock, and of course if you've got the app, you can watch it if you miss the live broadcast as well. But I'm delighted to say on this Friday, ahead of the big kick-off in the Scottish Premiership, we have Tam McManus, Alan Ruff, and we have a Premiership player no less than Charlie Adam for Dundee. So we're looking forward to talking about Dundee back in the top flight. How do you think they're going to do? You can give us your thoughts on your favourite team and how you think they will fare in the Premiership this season. We'll be giving you our predictions. We'll also be highlighting our top 12 from 1 to 12, where we think they'll finish in the league. Some are pleasing Charlie Adam, some are leaving him well miffed, I have to say. Gabriel Antoniazzi is nowhere to be seen in this studio out of fear of meeting up with the Dundee midfielder. Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, on the left-hand side there, you'll see just behind Charlie is the Sampdoria replica top. We've been offering you the chance to enter our competition to win it all week, and I'm delighted to say that Stuart Bruce is the winner of the Soonest top. The name on the back of it was Graham Soonest, the number 8. And Stuart, when you send off your details to us, we will be sending that top to you. So congratulations. Graham Soonest was the answer. And I can tell you next week, we've got some howitzer prizes to give away as well. So, start of the season. Charlie, you must be looking forward to it.
I'm excited. It's a big challenge for us, coming up. But we believe that we're good enough to go and compete. The games that we played against Hibs and St John's last year, we were competitive. And but can you do it on a consistent basis? That's what you have to do. Yeah,
and the other thing about it, Tom, which caught all of us by surprise, is the fact that we're going to start the new season. It's the first time Charlie wasn't able to be here on Wednesday, but he's here on Friday, and I was waiting for him to come in like Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction, but it just doesn't materialise.
I don't know what happened to the hair transplant. I was expecting that myself. He might need to go down the wig route. I think he's take a bit off yours. He'll be a bit off mine, but I think he'll have to go down the wig route. I don't think the transplants went through.
And the good news is, Ruffy, Charlie's obviously not going for it now, but the good news is Tam's decided to go to his natural colour of hair rather than the Bond villain look from last season.
Yeah. No, but his wife's still sort of stirring it up a wee bit. There's odd wee clippets, he's got away through the fucking... Oh. Sorry, I can apologise. Why did I say that?
That's the first time you've ever sworn in 10 years, and I just apologise to everybody.
It's only 4 o'clock.
I can't believe he swore on the blinking programme. 10 years.
Nobody would have known if I hadn't anything. It was just a wee... He's got away for the Norman look. He was doing the Norman, the haircut.
Norman Wisdom. Aye. Right, okay, for the benefit, listen, for the younger viewers, I can't believe it. Ruffy, 10 years we've been in 10 years, Charlie. I mean, the language is outrageous.
It's a fine, isn't it?
It is a fine.
It's a fine.
It's a club fine, you're absolutely right. Okay, let's talk about the fixtures. Let's have a look at them, obviously, and what we've got to look forward to over Friday and Saturday. There you have it. Rangers against Livingston, Dundee, St Mirren, Ross County, St Johnstone, Hearts, Celtic, Aberdeen against Dundee United, Motherwell against Hibs. Of course, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Motherwell, Hibs on this Sunday. And Rangers kick off at 1:30 on the Saturday. And of course, Charlie, fans back in. The Rangers fans will be super excited about it. Maybe not as many as they would have liked, but it's a start.
No, it is a start, and at least we've got fans in for the start of the season. I think Rangers will be buoyant from last season. The confidence is taken with the performances. I've watched the majority of the game pre-season. I think they're going well, but it's Davy Martindale will have them fired up. But I think there's some good fixtures tomorrow and over the weekend. That Hearts Celtic game late at night tomorrow night will be a good one as well. So yeah, it's an interesting start, and if you can get off to a good start with a win, then it sets you up for the rest of the season. Yeah,
and Stephen Gerrard talking earlier this morning regarding the start of the defence of the title for Rangers. They are the champions. This is, of course, what he had to say regarding the look ahead. Only absentee is, of course, Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Jack. Alfredo ready and fit to start once he's available. I think he'll be back next week. Looking forward to the challenges ahead in the next couple of weeks. Livingston, since I've come into this job, I've always been tough, home or away. They're a team that never lies down. So I think Stephen Gerrard will be quite happy to kick off with this one and look towards trying to get a positive result, although he has highlighted, obviously Morelos comes back, whether he stays another matter, But it looks as if he's done all his business for the season. He gave a slight hint that there'll be no other new faces coming in.
Yeah, I think he's got plenty of options, in every department. I think he strengthened areas he had to strengthen, and I think Rangers have almost got 2 teams now in there. So I think he's got plenty of opportunity to change it if people are not doing their jobs. But I think it's a real baptism for Livingston tomorrow. I think Rangers will get a big lift for those supporters in there. That first game of the season, and I think it'll be a very, very long 90 minutes for Livingston, to be honest.
I think Rangers have been a bit quiet there. I still believe that there's one major signing still to come. What position is it going to be? A holding midfielder? Is it going to be a striker? I think if they can get through these Champions League games, then there's a bit of money in the bank. I think they will go and spend and try and get one of the other, a central midfielder or a number 9.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Ruffy. If you've got 30 to 40 million coming in, that is the key, because okay, we know it's Malmo, and then the next one could be a really tough one as well. They might even go back up against, I think Slavia Prague are back in there again. So that's the last. Yeah, I was just about to say, but the key here, Ruffy, is if they know they've got that sort of money, Steven Gerrard would say, listen, group stages, push the boat out. Yeah,
I think the Rangers fans will be hoping that they don't fall into the same trap as Celtic have done. Thinking they're so far ahead of everybody that they don't spend the money. They think they've got enough. Because that's what Celtic have done year on year. They thought they were so far ahead of everybody, they never pushed the boat out. But I don't think Steven Gerrard will do that. He doesn't seem to be that kind of guy. So I agree with Tam. I think they've got more than enough in most of the positions. And they are way ahead of Celtic, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, the young boy they brought in, Charlie McCann, Steven Gerrard mentioned he's for the youth team.
The B team,
It's one of these ones for the future.
Yeah, he's a BT signing. Like anything at Rangers, if you're good enough, you'll get the opportunity. The manager's showing that he'll give young players an opportunity. So I think it's one they have to strengthen the B team because of the league that they're trying to play in, the Lowland League, be competitive in that, which they have. I think they've won 2 out of 3 games. But I think the first team are in a good position, momentum. Everybody's fit apart from Morelos is in quarantine. Ryan Jack coming back from an injury. They seem happy in what they've done, but I still think that they're looking for other players. Will be depending on what Champions League or the Europa League that they end up in. Yeah.
Okay, we've got the predictions back this year. We've added more than a few bodies because if we're going to go out for a meal, we want to make it an absolute howitzer. So there's no point in putting Charlie in, and I'll explain why Charlie is not in this season, Robbie, because he's in the top flight, and you cannot put a player who's playing professional football in the top flight in that position when he's got to predict his own team, because it becomes difficult. So he'll lose out. So Charlie's out, but we may well look towards the end of the season and say, look, Charlie, come for the meal, because everybody else is coming, so you might as well chip in.
As long as it's not me, it's paying.
It's a big one. There's 6 people in, I think.
This is a huge season for you, Robbie, because there are 6 people in this, and the predictions I'll kick off right away. I've got Rangers to beat Livingston 3-0.
I've went one more. I think it'll be 4-0. I think that Rangers, if they get there, they go. Livingston this season, for me, I think they're going to struggle. I think they'll be down the bottom. I don't think the players who have come in are as good as the ones that went out the door. So I think Livingston will be scrapping away, doing that bottom 2, bottom 3 all season. I think they'll get off to a poor start on Saturday.
Yeah, Ruffy?
I think Livingston are going to go there and they're going to give Rangers all the respect. I would like to think they're going to sit in and knock them away with a 4 or a 5-0 in the first game of the season. So I think they'll go there pretty solid at the back. Rangers will win the game, there's no doubt about that. But I'm just going to go for 2.
Yeah, 2, Charlie?
Well, I think that Rangers will win, but it's going to be difficult for me to say. I'm not going to ask you.
I
watched Ryan Kent against Real Madrid the other weekend. I don't understand why none of the big ones have come from.
Yeah.
He's a talented player that can go and flick of a switch could change a game for you, and he's, Livingston, if they do concede early, it's going to be a long afternoon. But you're in a predicament going to Rangers at the moment. Do you go for it and try and get up against them where they can touch off the park, or do you sit in and try and, you know, nullify them as much as you can. But if they get that early goal, then your whole game plan changes.
Yeah, we don't need to score. You just you can go but we don't. Obviously, we're not going to ask you about Dundee, just to keep you in the.
Fun, nothing said to me, Dundee.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, let's check and see if he's had if he's had a drugs test, if he's been tested, if he said 4-0. Listen, we're going to hear from Jack Ross talking about Hibs last night. We will also hear from Callum Davis and Jim Goodwin as well. Look at Aberdeen from the euphoria or hysteria of last week and the 5-1 win over BK Häcken. We'll talk about their performance last night. I can tell you it was squeaky bum time, to use one of Fergie's old lines for the Dons when they went 2-0 down, but all ended well. We'll discuss that as well. But at 8 p.m, unusual kick-off, Hearts against Celtic to look forward to. Ange Postecoglou's first game domestically in charge of Celtic in a competitive nature in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be a nervous night. There's no doubt about that. There'll be a few players in that dressing room feeling the strain already in the first game of the season. The big players have to come up and show that they're not going to let it get any worse than what it is, and that means the players that have been there for a while, you know, will have to step up. Edouard in particular, he has to start showing, you know, that if he's going to be a 20 million, 25 million player, he has to start scoring goals again. So I think it's going to be a really, really nervy night. I think we're all waiting to see what Hearts are like. You know, they've obviously had a lot of additions coming in, but a big step up, as Charlie will tell you, for the Championship. Going to be playing against better players, fitter players. So a wee test for them as well. I think Celtic will win it. I'm going to say they're not going to lose a goal. I don't know why. So, so I'm going to go 1-0 Celtic.
Might need to be a drugs test over there. Anyway, listen, you can give us your view on what you think is going to happen on YouTube. The great thing about YouTube is, of course, you could actually write your name and make sure that that is actually your name for this season, because I'll read it out. And the reason why I ask you if you've got an account that is your name is because you stand a better chance of winning some of the fabulous prizes that we're going to be giving away over the course of the season. But as ever, Ruffy loves me mentioning it. If you're one of those nutcases who comes on and just spills out your usual bile, then you've got no chance of winning on this programme. It's as simple as that. And eventually, as Ruffy says, Tam this season will be given the task of saying, this is not the show for you, so there's no point in watching. So apart from anything else, Ange Postecoglou, he's already had the real pain of losing to FC Michelin. This time he's talking about Hearts, and he seems to know a bit about them.
I'm still on the same planet, mate. I haven't come from outer space. I kind of know. You'd be surprised how much I know about Hearts. It's got a strong Aussie connection, mate. There's a lot of good Ryan McGowan, Paddy Kisnorbo. I can go back that far. I know Hearts very, very well. And, you know, obviously they're a big club and they obviously dropped down, but have come up, and it's always a good contest. And, you know, we're preparing for it the same way. But, you know, you can ask me that question every week because it'll be my first time doing it against every opposition, mate.
So he says he's done his homework, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think there's enough people behind the scenes that can help him do his homework. You know, they know the inside and out of most of the players that are at Hearts, and you could go through them all individually and know their strengths and weaknesses. So I don't think he's that bad a manager that he's not going to have done his homework. So it just remains to be seen in how the game goes. As far as he's concerned, a defeat really is unthinkable. You know, two on the bounce, you know, where everybody obviously saying Rangers are going to run away with it this year, so they can't. I don't think they can afford to start with a defeat.
Yeah, you know what it's like. In the old firm, you're only one game away from a catastrophe, a crisis at 2 games, Charlie.
Listen, it's a huge blow for him midweek about not getting the Champions League, but I don't think it could be any harder going away to Hearts first day of the season on the back of a defeat. He'll know what to expect because of, you know, John Kennedy and, you know, Y-Scout and things like that now, but it's going to be, I think, I'm more interested to see what Hearts turn up really from what they produced in the Championship. You know, Robbie, you know, if they don't start well, Robbie could be under a bit of pressure as well.
Yeah.
So it's a great game for tomorrow night, and I think it'll be a close one. But you would still fancy Celtic to edge it. Yeah,
they've got a new signing in. He's going into the back line. He'll strengthen it. Will he be able to hit the ground running? Karl Starfelt is well aware that he's part of a long line of Swedish signings at Celtic.
It's been a lot of successful Swedes here. I don't think too much of it, but of course I want to be successful here as well. And it's I haven't spoken to Lustig too much about it, but of course I want to do as good as I can here, and I'm fully focused on myself.
Yeah, Carl Starfelt, well, if anything, he's got to try and shore it up. They'll be looking to his experience. He's 26 years of age, Tam.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing. Listen, he's an international player, and I see Celtic have had a long line of good Swedish defenders. Johan Mjällby's a guy I played against loads of times. He was a great defender. No nonsense. Lustig as well, a legend at Celtic. So if he can do as good as they guys, then I'm sure he'll be fine. And he's desperately needed. We were just speaking about it there. Celtic's back four is desperately needing some experience in there, and I felt sorry for the two young kids who done okay the other night against Midtjylland, because they need a bit of experience beside them, need a voice beside them, a leader, and they've not got that at all. So hopefully he can get in, probably beside Welsh, I would think. Yeah. And it's a baptism for him as well, because Tynecastle, as Charlie knows, it's a very, very tough place to go and play and get a result. And it's be welcome to Scottish football, I think, tomorrow night. Yeah, and if anything, the pain for a lot of Celtic fans will be seeing Craig Gordon, Ruffy, in a Hearts top. How he was allowed to leave, I will never know. Yeah, well, only people behind the scenes know what the dialogue was there, you know, what they were offering them. They were all led to believe it was a drastic drop in wages, which Craig obviously refused to accept. And I think now, in hindsight, Celtic will be looking at that dialogue and wish that they had given him possibly what he wanted, because they wouldn't be in the mess they're in now. You know, he's an established goalkeeper, international goalkeeper. We know he can come up with the big saves at the right time. It's something that Celtic haven't had since he left. Yeah, listen, to be honest with you, it's just one in a long line of mistakes that have been catalogued by Celtic fans. And talking of that, we have mentioned the fact that you can actually join the show by submitting your own video and joining us on the programme. It's as simple as that, because we're going to be giving away quite a few prizes to people who contribute. And all you have to do is download the PLZ Soccer app. It'll give you all the breaking stories in Scottish, English, European and world football. And there's a little section called submission. Go in there. You can actually post a message, just post a selfie, or indeed record a video and then submit it. And that is exactly what Stuart McKinnon has done to give us his thoughts on the season ahead for Celtic.
It's a dire situation, which we all know is not just crept up in Celtic. This has been coming for many a year. We just hope that the new manager, Ange, is backed and back quickly, so that we can get in some position where we can challenge for the league and make steady progress. There is no doubt the glory years are behind us, but it's up to us now as true fans and a glorious team to set the path to glory again.
So we will be sending something out to Stuart. Well done to you for giving us your opinion, Stuart. More and more fans will get involved in it. Download the PLZ Soccer app and tell us what you think. It's as simple as that. Lovely to hear from him. He's a concerned Celtic fan, and rightly so, on what's gone before and what lies ahead. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants their rivals to be so dominant, and nobody wants to hear that your rivals are going to run away with everything and that you're already out of Europe, you know. So Celtic need a win, and we all know in football, as soon as you get a couple of wins under your belt, things seem to turn a wee bit and the supporters get on board. But there's too many things been happening at Celtics for the last 2 or 3 months that they really need to just win games, and that's the only way the fans are going to get behind everybody. Do you think they'll pay £1 million for Joe Hart? Well, they could have had him for free last summer. Yeah. So it's no sense to go and spend £1 million and then the wages. This has been rumbling on for 18 months at Celtic, and the change and everything like that. They've known Peter was going to leave, and it took so long, and then a new manager, and Eddie Howe, for some reason, didn't want to come up to Scotland, and that set him back probably another month or so. And it's a huge blow for him, because it's a big football club, and you know, on a Scottish point of view, we need Rangers and Celtic competing at the highest level for coefficients and Champions League football and that. But it's yeah, they have to start well tomorrow night, because if they don't, like you said, you're 2 or 3 week games away from the sack in the Old Firm, and that's just how it is. And we've all got opinions on it. Celtic fans, you know, Celtic fans are not looking at pundits up and down the country, whether at radio or in the papers or anything, and being precious about it. They're actually listening to a lot of people and saying, "Yep, I share that view." You know, I've talked about Joe Hart there. Charlie's mentioned the debacle of last season, and of course now they might have to stump up money. Neil Lennon only this week has said, you know, they suffered because they didn't replace their director of football or scout or head of recruitment, call it what you will, in Nick Hammond. I don't know who's making the decisions, but it's just one catastrophe after another.
Yeah, I think the Celtic supporters have been saying the same thing for the past 18 months, and I think Celtic have went back to 15, 20 years in the last 18 months. You know, they've just went so far back, and Rangers have just overtaken them. And I think when if Rangers get into the Champions League, they will become the richest club in Scottish football, and that was unthinkable, I would think, 3 or 4 years ago. Celtic were so far ahead, they had all the money in the bank sitting, and they could have really powered away and made it 10, 11, 12 in a row.
Yeah.
But they've sat in the laurels, and Rangers slowly but surely have started to improve, and they've got a good manager in the door, and the recruitment's been excellent at Rangers, and all of a sudden you get to this point now where everybody, and Celtic fans are tipping Rangers to win the league as well. So and that's unheard of, I would think, 2 or 3 years ago.
I'll need the names of those Celtic fans you're talking to. I mean, honestly.
There's a few Celtic fans throwing things at this telly right now, isn't it? Listening to us.
Open a door or a window or something. I mean, honestly, Ruffy, I could do a separate show in his last line, which is Rangers are going to be the richest club in Scotland. Rangers will look at this and say, there's 30 million if they can get there. Absolutely. They'll look at the season tickets, 50,000. I think they will then look at starting to say, right, let's clear the decks. They've put a lot of money into the stadium. They've spent a lot of money, upgrades in Auchenhowie, and looking at backing the manager's plans. So I think they'll try and clear the boards, Charlie, before they get to a point and start saying, look, we're in a financially better place.
I was fortunate enough that I was having a coffee all day and Ross Wilson had a chat, and they're in a good place as a football club. You know, the Parks, John Bennett, the overseas investors are willing to finance the football club. They're in a good position. But at some point these investors want their money back, even if it's dribs and drabs of £1 million, £2 million here and there. You know, they want to upgrade the training ground again. They're spending a bit of money on the training ground. The B team needs investment. Everything seems rosy at the moment, and long may it continue if you're a Rangers fan, because it's, let's say for Tam, it's been a long time since Rangers have been in that position, but they have to capitalise on it, and they have to use what's going on at Celtic as ammunition to move forward, and they seem to be doing that.
Yeah, and if they can start off with a win and then suddenly at Tynecastle, Hearts, let's talk about them, because apart from obviously the turmoil of going back to the Championship and then coming back up again, there was lots of improvements made at Tynecastle. They're going to try and back Robbie Neilson. Charlie mentioned there's a pressure at Tynecastle because Robbie Neilson, I think, knows that he has to start well. He himself says he can't wait to get into Celtic.
Always love Tynecastle at a night-time game when the floodlights are on. Has a different feel about it. Obviously Celtic coming to town, and we were raising the flag before the game. We're now at, I think, 4,500 fans. So even at the start of the season we had, I think, 215, and it built up to 2,500. You could feel the intensity and the atmosphere. So to get an extra couple of thousand is great.
So suddenly, Ruffy, he finds himself with over 5,000 fans allowed in at Tynecastle. Now, for me, I know Tam loves it as well. Charlie, you would love it when you play at it. It's now that the atmosphere's fantastic. I think he needs a good start, because I still think there are Hearts fans who doubt it.
Well, that was noticeable even in the Championship when they were 14 points ahead. The Hearts fans weren't happy with the way they were playing or the players that they had at their disposal. So although he's saying he's not really going to bother about them, because they won the league and everything that went with it, but deep down he won't want that kind of criticism on your back, going into the Premiership. We want to go in with the fans all pulling in the right direction, and the only way that's going to happen is if they win games, particularly if they win a game tomorrow night against Celtic. It's very hard for a fan to have a go at a manager if you start beating the likes of Celtic and Aberdeen and Hibs. So that's what he's got to do. He's got to put everything else to bed and start winning games. They're unproven. I don't think any of us know what kind of Hearts team's going to come out tomorrow night. The pre-season hasn't been electric. We haven't been talking about them that much. So we'll just have to wait and see how that game goes.
Can we not get Nazy in for his new role? Can we not get him on the phone and see how they're looking?
I was just about to say, at the end of the day, he's got his... I was amazed actually to say to chuck it. Did you?
Well, I done a show with Nazy the day he retired at night, and I says, why? He just said, listen, my knee I gave up really for me. It was just about, do I want to go and do that? I had an opportunity to go and coach and do what he's doing, and he felt it was the right time. But I think he would have had a little bit still something to them in the dressing room and on the pitch, even if it was 15-20 minutes here and there, you know, his experience on the pitch. So yeah, it's a blow for them, but no, Nazy seems to be in a good place, and yeah, I'll be interested to see what Hearts team come up, because you know they romped the league, and without a doubt, but it was yeah, it's a different level coming up to the Premier League.
Yeah, I've got Hearts 1, Celtic 1, Ruffy.
I've got Celtic to win 1-0. And again, I don't know
Clean
why
sheet.
you clean sheet. I mean, it's got to happen. You know,
Using goals.
a new centre half. He's a new centre half, so surely he can do something. But for midfield, you look at the players they've got in midfield, and you look at the striker they've got up front. They've got to click. They've got to click sometime. Yeah, he's got to turn. And everybody used to say about him. I think I said last year, I've never seen a striker when he scores a goal and he's not happy, and that's him.
Who?
Edward. He doesn't show any emotion. And that's every player is individual. You know, no everybody can be a Kenny Dalglish or whoever. Or
I don't think he's harsh on it, Ruffy. I think last year I said at the
he
start
got
of the
away
season
with
he
it.
was a man down.
Yeah,
I
but-
get slaughtered by Celtic
Yeah.
fans. He's still a man down. He wants away.
He got away with it because his body language.
He was scoring
people
goals
were
as well.
saying that's the kind of guy he is. That's the
Yeah, but
way
he
he
didn't
goes.
score those goals until later on in the campaign.
He still finished top goal scorer, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible.
But
If you're not scoring goals, you've got to put yourself about.
It's the
And he's
demeanour
not that
and how he
kind of
is, isn't it?
person who puts himself about. He doesn't put himself about. You know, he does it in wee
Bursts.
electric bursts. You know, which are fantastic. But he's just not done enough yet.
Well, I'm just looking here. Hearts obviously have managed to get from Everton the central midfielder 3-year deal, Benny Bananimi, and
Well done.
yeah, I know you were looking at it thinking I wonder how to spell that.
Ruffy say that?
But
Benny.
you know, they've got a situation where they'll want to cause as many problems as possible. Alan Patterson on our app has downloaded the app and just basically sent a message, and he said, I think Hearts will take something off Celtic tomorrow, and I think we'll have a good season. So some Hearts fans are positive about it. I've got 1-1. Ruffy thinks 1-0. What about yourself, Tam?
I've went for 2-1 to Celtic. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet at Tynecastle, but I just think they've got enough. I've not been that impressed with Hearts this season in the Betfred Cup.
Yeah.
And they've sneaked a couple of wins, so I think Celtic will just nick it.
One big signing for Hearts will be John Souttar, if he can keep him fit.
Yeah,
I
no,
think he will
absolutely.
make a big difference to them, because last year with Christoph and Alk at times they were a bit over the place, but I think this lad from Everton will give them good legs in midfield. Lost obviously Andy Irvine, but I think if they can keep John Souttar fit, that'll be a big one for them.
Well, absolutely, because I think if anything, Ruffy, it changes the way they'll play, because John Souttar is not a lump it up the park boy. He'll pick a pass.
No, he was on the verge of being our next Scotland centre half. Unfortunately, all the injuries that he picked up, he keeps getting these setbacks. But if he hadn't had them, he might have been a regular Scotland centre half. That's how much people rate him. You know, he is a quality defender. He's also obviously an attacking centre half, but he's got good the ball at his feet. And if you look at most of the games now, every team wants to build up for the back. Everybody wants the centre half to take the ball and be comfortable on it and bring the midfield into the game or whatever, and that's what he does.
Just before we hear from Jack Ross, don't forget, if you want to offer your opinion and you want to stay up to date with all the breaking news, and of course you can watch the football show at your leisure or live, you can download the PLZ Soccer app. I will reply to a number of people who speak to us on our YouTube as well and offer their opinions, which is lovely to hear. Also, Ronnie Porter, who says Peter Martin and the team are not interested in us talking about them going back to Facebook. Well, it's not that we're not interested in that, and I think that's a sad thing to say, Ronnie. We are basically on our own channel here on YouTube. Facebook offers so many changes in the algorithms constantly, which is very difficult for us to get a constant stream of the live programme, which is why we decided to build our audience, and we hope it's going to be a considerable audience on our YouTube channel. And it's the way ahead for us, it's the way ahead for quite a lot of people now as they change away from watching telly at specific times and moving to a digital audience, whether it be watching it on your telly, which you can do on the YouTube, on your television, on smart television. You just go into YouTube and hit PLZ Soccer, and then you'll find the programme and you'll find lots of other unique content. But we will be keeping everybody up to date with breaking news, little clips from the show on Facebook and Twitter as well. But this is the way ahead for us, and it's the way ahead for quite a lot of people. And I think, you know, there are some people who'll be slightly miffed, but hopefully you'll stick with us and join the football family on our YouTube channel, and there's lots of prizes to be won as well, because behind Charlie is a retro replica Sampdoria top with Stuart Bruce is the winner of that top, so congratulations to you, and thanks to Dan, who says you're better off on YouTube anyway. It's quite a clear picture, everything's looking good. It's great to have Charlie back here, and of course Tam, and all we need is a staff night out, and we're truly back. Whether that's coming or not, I don't know, Ruffy. I'm trying my best. And what about your side, the Hibbies? Okay, lost a goal to Andorra, but nevertheless, easy enough in the end. 5-1 over 2 legs.
Yeah, supposedly the first half was good as well. Nobody's seen it. I think it's a Santa Coloma were getting to the neck from the Hibs supporters. But second half I watched. Listen, I think they were slightly better at home on the AstroTurf.
They were hopeless at Easter Road, weren't they?
They were terrible at Easter Road.
Wow.
Listen, it could have been, as I said, it could have been 5 or 6 if Neil didn't get sent off. They're a poor side. Hibs done their job. Tough one coming up against Rijeka. First leg at home next Thursday, Easter Road, and then going to Croatia. So that'll be a bigger test, but I think that's a 50-50 game, because I think Hibs have got in the locker at least to put them out.
Yeah, I think Jack Ross well happy that they got that win against Santa Coloma.
Yeah, I mean, really pleased to win the tie this evening. Pleased to progress overall through the 2 games and comfortably. A little bit frustrated at bits tonight, and obviously disappointed to go behind, but our reaction was very good. And as I mentioned there, I think winning games is an important habit to do, and to win these opening 2 matches in Europe is pleasing for us. So we understand the difference in the challenge we'll face on Sunday compared to these 2 last Thursday evenings. But again, reminded the players that we were the 3rd best team in the league last year for a reason. So it's about making sure that we start the season in that manner as well, with the level of performance and the level of belief that befits a team that finished in that position.
It's good to see Jack working on his tan as well. He just looks absolutely magnificent. Andorra must have been roasting.
It must be the spray tan used to her wearing and all that. Golfing tan,
playing golfing.
He's kind of when you set the bar from last season, he's got himself a new contract, but when you set that bar and suddenly you're able to, give people expectation.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly got the players that excite the fans. I think the boy Irvin leaving, couldn't get my head around that one. It must have been finance, because I don't think
it'd be a big miss. I don't think.
Well, you've seen him.
Listen, he's a good runner, and he might nick your odd goal, but I think they had better quality technical players in the football club.
Yeah.
Scotty Allen coming back might give him an opportunity. I don't know what the issues is or what's going to happen there, but Hibs seem in a good place. The club seems buoyant. The supporters are looking forward. They're going to have huge crowds next season, and they're a side that I think could, do really well next season.
Yeah, you mentioned Scott Allen. I'm a huge fan of Scott Allen, but I think it's a big quarter for him. Never mind a big season. It's this quarter that I think people will start to say, "Well, he's had a pre-season. Is there anything wrong? Can he step up and step on?"
Yeah, I think it's a big season for him. I think that Hibs are going to look to try and play that 4-2-3-1 and get him in, because I think that's the only system formation that you're going to get Scott Allen playing every week. I don't think you can play in a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. So if you can get maybe McGuinness and Gogic sitting behind him, or Neil, and you can allow him to go and link up with Nisbet, I think that's their best option to get him in the team. And to be fair, they've done it against Arsenal. They played 4-2-3-1 and they've done it against Santa Coloma until obviously the man got sent off. So I think Jax maybe will play that system against Motherwell on Sunday and get Scott Allen in the team. But you're right, he's got to go and take his opportunity. And I think he's a better player than Irvin. I think he'll create more and score more goals when we're end product. But as you said, he's fit now. He's had a pre-season. He's got to go and produce it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course the manager would love nothing better than a win, just to build the confidence again from the end of last season to this season. We'll come back to that Jack Ross one, but we'll go to Motherwell and flip over to them, because the one worrying thing is I have serious concerns for Motherwell this season. Graham Alexander himself says that he wants to make sure that they can, first of all, get positive results and excite the fans.
Look, we have to win games. I think Motherwell, it's possibly been a roller coaster club. Cup finals one year, joint bottom when it came in January. It's quite easy, goes one way or the other. So we have to work exceptionally hard, day in, day out, to make sure that the drive is to be the best we can be.
Well, he wants to excite the fans. The Motherwell supporters will be absolutely delighted at that, Ruffy. I wonder if he's got the players to excite the fans.
Well, they certainly haven't excited the fans in the Betfred. You know, that of all the senior teams, I think they were the most disappointing results. I know a lot of people say, well, we use it to bring players in and things like that, and we're getting more fitness and everything, but you want results as well, and the results have been poor, so I think you'll be a wee bit worried. I mean, Motherwell usually have the knack of bringing 3 or 4 players up for England, and whoever identifies them usually gets it right, so I think the fans will be waiting to see if there is any more coming in, because I think they really need to strengthen.
Yeah, I've got Motherwell 0, Hibs 2.
I've got Motherwell 1, Hibs 2.
I'm the same as Ruffy. I think Hibs have got too much attacking wise for Motherwell. I've not been impressed. I watched Motherwell against Airdrie and I thought they were real dreadful, to be honest. So I think he's got a lot of work to do, Graham Alexander, to be honest.
Yeah, Hibs to win for you, Chaz?
Yeah, it's how Hibs come out the travelling of you know, and the Europa League stuff. But you'd expect Hibs to win.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but sometimes we always like to tune in to Tam every now and then when he works for Hibs TV. We can't tune in to all the other companies he works for, Charlie, a bit like yourself, because there's not enough hours in the day. But the feed last night from Aberdeen, suddenly you could just see it, Ruffy, that, you know, Rob McLean suddenly starting to bottle it, and Steve Cowan, we know Steve well, and I thought, Charlie, those two are going to jump off the stand at Pittodrie if this mob score another one.
They didn't make it easy for themselves, did they? They were in cruise control for the whole leg and a half, really, and then once you get the one goal, it was like panic stations. But they done the job in the end, and you know, they'll look at the goals that they conceded, because they'll have to sharpen up for the start of the season, because, you know, if they want to do well defensively, bringing in people like Declan Gallagher is a big one for them. So they have to tighten up if they want to do well.
When you eventually chuck it, Charlie, the great thing about it is somebody's going to do a compilation of your play, and there'll be about 8 from the halfway line. So it's great. It's like me when I went into the bargain buys, and I bought a Glenn Hoddle video for £3. Oh no, beg your pardon, a Matt Letizia video for £3, and it was a DVD, and all it is about 280 spectacular strikes. You will be the same, but the boy Ojo, did you see his sitter last night?
Oh, I've seen it. Horrific, wasn't it?
It's a howler. I mean, I couldn't even have missed it, Ruffy, and that's saying something.
It was as bad. Did you see Ryan Kent's against Real Madrid? It was as bad as that.
Yeah, it's up there.
I had there. It was a shocker, but you know, he went on loan, and you know, he's come back, and you know, obviously Stephen looks to use him. And no, listen, Aberdeen are always going to be strong, but it's how can they go and put it on consistently, because there's going to be big pressure for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, if there was excitement from week 1, I mean, I'm speaking to a few of my pals up in Aberdeen, they're, the whole town's buzzing, and then suddenly, delighted to get through that round, you know.
I think so. Obviously, I think it's difficult when you're 5-1 up and you go in a away leg. The other team's got nothing to lose, basically, and the Hacken are not a bad side.
Yeah.
Just Aberdeen were excellent the first leg and put them to bed, basically. And I think it's just a fixture you've got to go and fulfil, really, and just go and be professional. And Hacken had nothing to lose. Once they get the second goal went in, I think they got a man sent off shortly after, and I think a few Aberdeen supporters were breathing a sigh of relief. But
well, the ref was brilliant, because he booked everybody.
He was just throwing cards about.
And he booked people in the stands as well, Ruffy. It was fantastic. He booked the assistant.
He booked Declan Gallagher.
He hadn't even come on. He'd yellow carded him, and I thought, this ref's mental. But nevertheless, the one key element of this, I mean, Scott Brown tends to cruise in front of the back four, but Lewis Ferguson, I just hope for one more season they can hold on to him. Yeah,
listen, I think that he's key for them. I know Aberdeen, I spoke to Stephen Glass, Aberdeen are looking for £4 or £5 million, because, you know, that's, you know, I look at clubs down south. Watford has just come up in the Premiership and getting 100 million. I don't know, if Lewis Ferguson was doing the same he's been doing at Aberdeen in the Championship, he'd be a £10-15 million player. So I think Aberdeen are well within their rights. He just signed a new deal as well, so they're well within their rights to ask for £4 or £5 million. Obviously, Lewis, I think personally, will be desperate to get to the Premier League and get the big money and everything that comes with it. But I think if he just keeps playing well and scoring goals, somebody will go, by the way, there's your money. Yeah. So he's just got to keep his head down, be professional. I think he will be, to be honest.
And in contrast, and no disrespect to Tam Courts, Ruffy, I'm not that excited by what Dundee United have to offer. And if I looked at the two of them, I've got Aberdeen to win this 2-0.
Yeah, I've got Aberdeen to win as well. I've got Dundee United to score a goal, right enough, but again, as Charlie said, I think...
You went 2-0 and scored a goal.
No, I've got them to score a goal.
Yeah,
2-1, I'm going 2-1.
Thank God for that. Right? You all right?
Yes, I'm going them. No, I'm going them 2-1. But as Charlie said with Hibs, it depends what kind of reaction there is coming out of that midweek game. We don't know what injuries are picked up or whatever, but if they're going to be some kind of force, they've got to win this game. I think if you're at home, you've got to win your first game.
Yeah.
You've got to send the fans away happy.
I think if Aberdeen, do the job on Dundee United, you watch that City, because they will get right behind that team. I mean, they will be buying season tickets, they will be flooding Pittodrie, and the one thing about them, Charlie, which is great, which is why I love Dundee back in the division, is they've got a great travelling support.
Oh, huge support away from home, and I think it's important that we try and fill as many grounds in Scotland as we can next season, because we've missed it. Hibs, Aberdeen, Hearts, good travelling away supports, and that makes the games and the atmosphere as well. So no, if Aberdeen start well, then it'll be a very difficult place for teams to go.
Yeah, you going for Aberdeen win?
Yeah, I think they'll just edge it 2-0.
Yeah.
I've got 2-1. I think that Dundee United this season are going to be an unknown quantity, but I think they've got to keep Shankland.
Yeah.
I think if Shankland leaves, if somebody comes in and buys him, I think they're in big trouble.
Yeah, okay. Dundee against St Mirren. Looking forward to it. Obviously, to see yourself. I mean, the one thing all the boys in the office are asking is, now, where's his runners? Have you got the runners? And are you at that point where I don't think technically there's a better midfielder kicking about in that whole 12 that will be able to do the things that you can do from passing and all. I can't pay you a high enough compliment.
Thank you.
Is it that type? Are you from the pre-season? Are you thinking, I'm right up for this? I know exactly what I'm.
I know. Like tomorrow for me, I'm going and looking at McGrath getting linked with Watford, and I'm thinking, okay, let's see what you got. That's how I look at the game, each game and each individual, and I think, okay, people are talking saying he can go to Watford. I need to stamp my authority on his game and try and dominate the game. Yeah. If I do that, I know that we then allows us to have a better game. So people say, oh, bit runners and all that. I could bring the stats and show it live if you want. My stats are as good as anybody. And listen, it's
Do you feel fitter this season than you did last season?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And listen, the young lads they're on a different level nowadays. From what they are. But I never missed a day's training pre-season. Played every game. Come off obviously last week with a little bit of an issue, but that was just because we train a lot on AstroTurf and then we play in the pitch. So I don't think people say about running stats they'll make a difference to me. It's just you just got to turn up in the day and hopefully you win your battle. And I'm looking forward to a good challenge against McGrath because he done really well last season.
Yeah, and what about Dundee? What about the players? I mean, I'm excited because I want to see you in the Premiership again. Because no disrespect, but the years are getting on. I don't know how many years you've got. You've obviously got decisions to make next 1, 2, 3 years, but players of your calibre and other players like that, like the boy at Rangers that they've just signed, Fashion Sakala.
Yeah.
These type of players get you excited. Kyogi at Celtic. Furuhashi. You're looking at them and you're saying, right, this is the league starting to get good again. But great when you get technical players. Midfield technical
No,
players
absolutely, yeah, good.
Me.
But like you say, the ones for us would probably, if you want to look at, young Mac Anderson, 20 years of age, a young kid coming through who I think can come and blossom next season. Paul Mcmullen, who come in from Dundee United last January, I think got us promoted. He had a different dimension to us. He's very quick, direct. I think he had 14 assists in about 12 games. Jordan McGee's a good player. Sean Byrne does an excellent job for us, and the two lads, centre back. So listen, we're in good form. We had probably a team that played in the Premiership, we played in the Championship last year, and but we have to try and win football matches. Listen, we won the last 4 in the Betfred Cup, Premier Sports, and we've got to try and take that into tomorrow. It's going to be a big challenge. St Mirren done really well last year, and we're looking forward to it. Because we're at home as well, we'll have just short of 3,000. Be a good atmosphere.
Yeah, the manager Jim Goodwin says that he's hoping the Saints can finish top 6.
Yeah, we're not going to adjust our targets or anything like that. I think that would be a little bit silly. I think our aim, very similar to probably another 7 or 8 clubs out there, will be to try and get into that top half of the table, and that remains the same as last season.
Don't know about you, Tam. I think St Mirren have recruited well.
Yeah, I think they'll be pushing for the top 6. I think they were obviously just missed out in it last season, the last game of the season against St Johnstone sneaked in there. So I think they will be pushing again this season. I think Brophy being back fit, Curtis Main coming in, they've got strikers there. Again, can they keep Aldi McGrath? As you know, I went down and looked at him for Ireland for Stephen Kenny, and I know there was big clubs watching him. So can they hold on to him as the main thing? He got I think 15, 16 goals last season for Midland Park. And like Dundee, St Mirren, I think the difference will be a striker. If you get somebody in Dundee or St Mirren or Motherwell that's going to get you 15 goals, you know, and that's what I look at. I look at teams that have got, can you get 15 goals? And is Cummins a man for Dundee? Who knows? You know, is Brophy or Main going to get 15 for them? So I think it's not going to be a lot between the likes of Dundee, St Mirren and Dundee United, but I think a goal scorer could be the difference.
Yeah, another thing about it as well, and I know sometimes Ruffy doesn't have a spine or an opinion when it comes to, you know, if he's in the company of somebody and he doesn't want to upset them, you know, he'll kind of cower away from it. But I think, you know, this is a competition where you've got to try and pick up points. so I'm looking at the predictions here. I've gone 2-1 St Mirren. Have you?
See, put that on me and he's...
Robbie, where are you going?
Well, I had privy. We played St Mirren last week. It was 1-0 until 5 minutes.
You played really well.
We played really well, and as Tam said, I was impressed with the squad they had.
Yeah.
You know, even on the bench, you know, and
just give us a score.
I went one each. I went one each.
Okay.
I've went one each as well. I can't split them. I think Dundee and St Mirren, I think there'll be no much between the two teams all through the season in terms of points.
Yeah. You top 6. That's what you think James will be aiming for?
No.
Stay in the league.
Stay in the league.
Yeah, like, I would think so.
I see St Mirren saying top 6. I see Hearts saying top 6. It's very difficult. Because these big Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, you know, are all investing really well. I think it's very difficult. I think you've just got to keep it on in house and see where it takes you.
I think more than ever, the bottom 6 this season is going to be really exciting. You know, particularly with the two teams that are coming up, Hearts and Dundee, obviously Kilmarnock and Hamilton are out of the equation. But I think the bottom 6 is going to be a dogfight every game. I don't think there's anybody who'll get tailed off. I think they'll all be neck and neck all the way right to the end. Yeah,
okay. Ross County, I guess, St Johnstone. I don't know. I don't know. And I know you work for radio stations. You speak in other programs as well. We all listen to other pundits, and I read the papers and listen to people and read people that I respect. Have people disregarded Malky as a coach? Because I think Malky's a great coach. I don't see I don't see him in trouble this season.
No, I just, like Ruffy said, I think the league is going to be so competitive. I don't think there's anybody that you can hang your hat on and say, well, the last few seasons we've said Hamilton were probably always going to be adrift. I think everybody has a capability of being competitive in the league, and it's going to be an interesting top 6, bottom 6 coming in and say Malky was a very good coach. Obviously had a situation a few years ago, and that hung over his head for a long time, and then he done a very good job at the SFA and the performance schools, and a chairman that in Roy McGregor he's probably stuck his neck out in the line and thought, do you know what, we need somebody like that in a football club, and fair play to them for giving him an opportunity. Ross County, I think, will be as competitive as anybody in the league. They'll get players up there, and they signed a couple of decent players, and it'll be a tough game going up there for St Johnstone. Yeah, absolutely. And amazingly, and again, if I'm equally amazed at some people maybe not giving Malky the due credit that he deserves because he's a good coach, Callum Davison is the manager of the double winners that go up there. And again, Callum himself says, listen, this season, again, survival the key.
You know, I think positive going into this game. I think we need to carry on our form from the second half of last season. So we're going through reminders and processes that we did it and how we did it. So hopefully we can go up there. It'll be a tough place to go. Hopefully it's not as hot as it was in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully it's a little bit cooler, so the game can probably play at a high tempo.
As you can see, it's always good to catch Callum in the toilet while he's doing an interview. But the good thing about it is, I met Xander Clark in the car park when he was doing the old shopping, and he's just looking and saying, you know, unbelievable season, couldn't believe it, fantastic, and I was so delighted for him. I thought he was maybe on the verge of a Scotland call-up as well. But it's just holding on. We've all been talking about holding on to key players. I think that could be the key for them.
Every interview that he does, you can tell there's a sense of, before this window's closed, I'm going to lose 3 players, and the 3 players I'm going to lose are my best players. And I don't think he's got the finance to replace them. Obviously, I don't know what kind of money they would go for, but it's another rebuilding job if they go. But he's good at it. He's done it all the time. I mean, it doesn't matter who it's at Johnson. They've always done it, and that'll be a battle for him. So I think I'd be ripping up all the phones and not taking any phone calls at all. If he says there's somebody on the phone for you, I'm not here. Until this window's out the road. Because if he was to lose his 3 best players, I think they struggle a wee bit.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say to you guys is, listen, we love your opinion. By all means, post it. We'll try and read some of the live ones out on our YouTube channel as well. I like Andy Clellens, who says, I don't care what anybody says, I think Celtic will finish top 6 this year. So that gives you an indication of where this whole thing's going. There'll be some good banter. There'll be some people with opinions. You can download our app and give us your opinion as well on all this. We've given you our predictions for the weekend. Here's how Ruffy sees the 12, how they finish 1 to 12. Charlie, talk us through it, Ruffy. Talk us through it, Ruffy. You're a disgrace.
Yeah, well, I think Rangers at this moment in time, Rangers are so far ahead of Celtic. I think Celtic going to look at second place. Hibs, I think, are stronger than Aberdeen. Obviously, we were talking up Aberdeen the other day, but that result last night maybe just justifies Hibs being in third place. If St Johnstone don't lose these players, I think the trophy winning and will keep a good harmony in there. I think Hearts have got the players to get them into sixth place, and as I said, after that, there's not much between all the other sides.
Yeah, but you've got Dundee and Ross County in the bottom two, Ruffy.
I've got Ross County down there because I just don't like them.
We've only got 38 weeks to go.
By the way, Charlie, you don't get that. You don't get that punditry in 5 Live, do you? I just don't like them.
I was about to invite you to Ross County Dundee at Dens as well, but I don't think you're travelling.
It's okay. I'm not travelling away up there. We've been up there in December.
I've been up there. I was up there for 6 months.
Absolutely. It's listen. I like Roy. I think he puts a lot of money into the club, and listen, a braver chairman. He's looked at Malky. He's decided. Listen. You've paid you've paid the penalty. You've been honest. You've been open about it all, and he's given him a chance. And I think Malky will surprise a few people this year. Here's my 1 to 12 Rangers to win, and I think it's a sad indictment on Celtic at 2 years of absolutely a monumental collapse. To allow Rangers. I can't see anyone stopping Rangers this season. I don't think they'll go through the entire season unbeaten. I think somebody will take points off them, but it's Aberdeen for me. I'm excited about Aberdeen. Hibs, we'll wait and see if Scott Allen can get a run and show he's fit again. He could be vital. I've gone for St Mirren to make it into the top 6 this time around. But for me, I don't know, Charlie, I think you guys will be all right. I could even see you flip that with Dundee United and St Johnstone as well. But the bottom end for me, I'm not excited by Motherwell, and I certainly think there's enough quality coming into the other teams, Tam, to counter this kind of I'm not a huge fan of Livingston's Route 1 football at times. They mix it up. They do sometimes play it on the deck. And plus, of course, if he doesn't like Ross County, I don't like artificial surface. I think it should be toughed out of this league. But it won't get toughed out of this league because the SPFL board are spineless, and the man at the top has been, in the last 2 years, at the head of what can only be described as just a shambles. This whole operation from the SPFL and Neil Doncaster has been a shambles. They should be embarrassed. And this is just another indication of how embarrassing it all is.
No, as in listening, I think we lost 2 artificial pitches, Hamilton and Kilmarnock, and no disrespect to the supporters, I think everybody's quite happy that both those pitches are out. Livingston, I think there's a fair chance that they could be down as well.
I'm not sure you'll be happy with it.
Is your pitch poor at Dens?
No, to be fair, it's actually looking all right now. It took a battering earlier in the pre-season, 3 games in a week. It had only been done for 3 weeks, but the lads have managed to turn it around, so hopefully people enjoy
I'm delighted to say we're joined live now by the Dundee groundsman. He was obviously aware that he was going to get a battering.
He's probably on holiday.
That's how the pitch is a nightmare.
Probably on holiday, brilliant. Battered. I mean, I don't know about you, Tam. I think Livingston will struggle this year.
Yeah, I've got them bottom. I think they'll go down. I thought they they got a little bit of a boost with Dave Martindale when he first came in. They went on a great run, but towards the end of the season, they were losing every game. They were really poor, and from what I've seen in the results-wise and wee bits and pieces I've seen of Livingston, I don't think they've got the same quality as they did last season. So I think they'll go down. I think they'll finish last.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, it's all about opinions. We'd love your opinion as well. Download the PLZ Soccer app, and you'll get us to your fingertips all the breaking news. You'll also be able to watch the show. You'll also get Gabriel Antoniazzi's morning and evening bulletin, keeping you right up to date with what's happening. And there'll also be lots of chances for you to submit your own video or your own comment on some of the issues in Scottish football. We'd love to hear from you. It's there at your fingertips. It's the 21st century. It's the PLZ Soccer app. I don't know what more you could ask for other than to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stuart Bruce won the Graham Souness top, the Sampdoria replica from, I think it was the 80s. So there's going to be lots of prizes and lots of opportunities for you to win. And with that in mind, you're going to see a lot more of Gabriel Antoniazzi out live, bringing us up to date with all the news from across the country. Yeah, Charlie's got him gunning for him now. But the other good news is Gabriel's been out on the town for what we call the Great Scottish Strip-Off, to give you an indication of how much it's going to cost you if you want to buy a replica this season.
The league season returns this weekend across Scotland, which means a bunch of new strips. Now here's Motherwell's number. You could buy it for £49 for an adult. But how about other clubs? Well, Dundee offer the cheapest adult jersey for just £39 and the cheapest full strip, with shorts and socks totalling at £65. Livingston offer the best value for a kid's top, that's £35, whilst at the other end of the scale, the two Old Firm clubs both charge £50 for a kid's shirt and £65 for the older version, which is quite a bit more than any other team. If a family of four wanted to buy 4 full Ranger strips, it would cost a whopping £422. The average price for a top is £50, with Aberdeen, Hearts and St Johnstone amongst the clubs who offer that price. So do Hibs. Their away strip wins my vote as the best kit in the country this campaign, with the retro white and green pinstripes. Let us know which strip you prefer and what you make of their ever-increasing prices. And you can win your favourite jersey by subscribing to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. That's where you can catch a show every day at 4 PM exclusively on PLZ Soccer's YouTube.
Hey, well done, Gabriel, just giving us an insight into how much it's going to cost you. I'll tell you this right now, Ruffy, if you're a family of 4, that's a lot of money to shell out, anything from 200 to 400 quid if you're wanting the full strip, if you're a family of 4 who decided to go out looking as if you're going to a game in the summer.
The fans will pay it, because that's what they want. And I think if you have a look now, there's more and more fans buying the replicas, the strips within the years, and get retro, doing that kind of stuff. And, but it is a lot of money. But the fans, we always say they're not going to do it, but they'll be at the game with them on. If it's a new strip and they like it, they'll buy it.
Yeah, and of course the other thing, and I'm going to be critical of Italy here, but the Italians, I think in the 90s, decided to do the body fit ones. That was fine if you had a body like Francesco Totti. But I don't know about you, Charlie. Do you remember the ones in the 90s? Do you remember the ones in the 90s that were really baggy? And then all of a sudden Kappa brought this, you had to have a...
They're all like hanging now, and they all tailored, apart from up in Scotland. I think it's the only Rangers and Celtic who got the tailored shirts, but everybody else is like a bag of washing at times, isn't they? One size fits all. But the English clubs and all that now, some of the even like the Italians, the white one, they had was stuck to them, wasn't it? But no, it's good to see. I enjoy when new season comes, new kits and that. I think the Hibs away one's a beauty, and
and the good thing about it, Charlie, is we'll be giving away a top from your favourite team. Next week we'll start it, and you can win yourself the top from your favourite side by simply subscribing to our YouTube channel, and of course just put under the live feed which team you support, and we'll be picking out a lucky winner who'll win a Motherwell top, one who'll win Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, Dundee, you name it, even Ross County. Will get Ruffy to take it to your house, to be perfectly honest with you. So there's lots of that. Thank you very much to the countless people who are actually putting really nice messages on YouTube. It's a difficult one to police, and sometimes there will be people who are offensive on it, but you've just got to try and just brush it off and don't read it. because eventually we will get to banning as many as we possibly can. And then, of course, as is what's happening in England and it's coming across Europe, everybody's going to have to register their driving licence or their passport, and then suddenly the people who really you wouldn't want to talk to in the street will disappear from social media.
Not before time. We've said it for a couple of seasons now. It's unacceptable, and I think a change is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. But all the really decent people, we've got lots of them who are watching the programme, Ruffy, and we're really looking forward to it. And hopefully we're going to actually bring a few in to watch the show and participate as well.
Yeah, I think we should try and attract most of the foreign listeners and viewers, you know, because they can respond and take us home on holiday time.
I was wondering where
always on the end of
I know, honestly, the blood was draining from my By the way, can I tell you something? He started off the show swearing and he ended it, I thought he was going over the cliff. Just before we go, Charlie, I want to get your one thought that has implications for not only Scottish football, the whole of European football. It's a real worry. Manchester City, the Telegraph reporting a £100 million bid for Jack Grealish. I mean, listen, that will set Aston Villa up for 3-4 years if they use the money wisely. But such a special player, but 100 million.
It's the world we're in, Peter. I was talking to a couple of people that are playing in the Premier League, and the Premier League's only going to get stronger now. The Championship in England and below is going to fade away with the salaries and that, but that Premier League is going to get stronger. 100s, 200s, 300, maybe even 400 grand a week. You know, seen Harry Kane linked to Man City for 400 grand a week. It's just what happens with the big clubs, and 100 million's a lot of money, but listen, he's a top player, you know, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get the deal done.
Nazy's retired, will your white van still be at the end of the month speaking about and picking up maybe Nazy's salary as well?
It's nice to be back in Premier League wages, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll on, Charlie, absolutely. Listen, an absolute joy to have Chaz back with us in the studio. We knew as soon as we get back into this format that we'd enjoy it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it over the course of the season. You'll get opinion as well. We'll try and educate you too. AA Studios, Maguire has a C in it, there's no A. Just in case, just thought I'd enlighten you all of that. You know what it's like. They think they're actually battering you with a baseball bat. We can all take a ribbing along the way. Thanks to Charlie. Good luck tomorrow, Charlie, even though some of us think you'll get pumped.
Yeah. I might actually send a video back into that PLZ app after the game when we've won.
By the way, that would be absolutely sensational if you did that. Anyway, give us your opinion. By all means, join us. You'll win yourself some fabulous prizes this season, and we are going to be out and about as well with the Outside Broadcast truck, trying to entertain you as much as we possibly can. We'll be getting involved in all sorts of mad games and letting you win the prizes as well. We'll be back on Monday. Joining us will be Tam McManus, Alison McConnell, Ruffy and myself. Hopefully you can join us 4 o'clock on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll get the notifications, and download the app if you can. Have a great weekend. Get out and enjoy Scottish football this season. The more and more fans we get back into it, the better. As soon as they allow full capacity stadiums, I hope you'll be buying a season ticket or getting out to support your favourite team. Thanks for watching.